Welcome to another Trackmania Turbo Trackmaster tutorial. See, I skipped another one this time. This is 18. This isn't the only car I'm good at. Trust me. Almost to the point of another car. Just wait for that, because now it's this. And this one is actually quite a bit harder than the last one, because there's even like stability issues even though this is all road. So let's get into it, folks. This one's harder than the number may seem. This one actually requires quite a lot of thought process. To begin with, it's just on the apex, easy enough. Don't hit that thing, though. It actually isn't too hard, because by the time you get off the turn, you're gradually going into the next turn anyway, which should lead you away from that. This turn, again, apex. By the time you get out, be very much on the apex, because this turn you need to sweep in. But you don't need to get right on that apex, because if you turn in really any more than I did here, I spin out because it's a hill and that gets you unstable. But if I turn out more, then it's less momentum carried anyway, because it's that much longer of a distance while sliding. And there's even more chances to hit stuff. Pretty much here, you have to turn in as much as your car will allow before sliding big time and pretty much spinning out, while still being able to avoid that, which means pretty much perfectly turning in just enough to avoid that. There's really no more turn in than that. And then turning out here just plain doesn't work. You have to turn in to avoid that and still avoid sliding. But if you turn in while avoiding much sliding there, you do pretty much hit this stable. That one's not all that much to worry about. The next bit though, well, that's pretty hard. And honestly, this is one of the more random sections I've ever been in. I try my best to get to the middle through here, which is a little bit hard because you actually have to wait a little bit before you go to the middle through here too, because there's barriers there, so you have to wait a little bit to get beyond those barriers. Once you're on the boost pad, start going to the middle, because then by the time that boost pad is there, the barriers aren't there. So start going to the middle then. But despite my best efforts, my best for getting in the middle still had sliding. Like those numbers that came up there, that means I'm sliding. Even with my best efforts, I still kind of sweeved a little bit there, and there was nothing that I could do about that. That's as stable as I could get it. If you exit that turn just barely good enough where you make that turn without falling off and hitting anything, then you're good. That section's a lot harder than it looks, and there's really no explaining it until you do it. For whatever reason, you're really unstable through that road section. That doesn't really make any sense, but you are. Again, just try to keep your wheels straight, but you can't even do that, or keep your wheels straight. I'm on a controller, but keep the car's wheels straight. But it's kind of hard to do that because you have to avoid those barriers, so you still do have to turn in a little bit. The farther you start on the outside, the more it makes you go to the outside, I guess, because angles. The more to the middle you are, then the less angles there are to deal with, but you still have to turn into the middle, which in and of itself is angles. So that section is much harder than it looks, but beyond this, you're pretty much there. It's just a straightaway. This section is a lot of thought process, because for the first part, you have to get your car stable in terms of hills and stuff. And the second part, you have to get your car stable in terms of how much to turn in to be able to get at the right angle to keep in the middle. So it's not easy, despite it still being a pretty low number. This one was one of my harder ones to get. But nonetheless, I got it. This one is definitely a practice type one, because I can't even really explain that loop section until you do it. That one's more of a learn on the fly than really having that be explainable. Because it's not even really learning a surface, it's still road. But anyway, in terms of my overall ranking, I did better than some, worse than others, kind of overall average. But notice, I didn't actually move all that much beyond 16. I moved from 16 to 18, but the overall numbers dropped quite a bit. They dropped like 10%, when on average they dropped like maybe 5%. So that tells us when it's pretty hot picking hard. So, practice makes perfect. Good luck on this one. I don't think it's as much luck, it's just more get it right. Because luck kind of only works for one section, and this one takes 2 sections to get it right. So, yeah, I just practice. That's really all I have to say there. I hope you all enjoyed this, learned something from it, and as always, yeehaw!